everybody. Welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show. Today we are going to fire it up with Debra Silverman, and she's going to talk to us all about the missing element. Woo! Are you fired up?
I start that way.
You're in the land of Pele, so you got to start off fired up, right?
So beautiful. Yes. Aloha.
Aloha. I'm jealous. I want to be in Hawaii.
I know. I feel the same way.
All right, so I want to talk all about the four elements, but there's yet another element. Most of the models I've seen have, the fire, the water, the air, the earth, but yet you have another element. What's the missing element?
The missing element is actually called the observer. Well, there's two parts to the book when you read the book. One is you take a personality test and you actually figure out what the missing element is. So there's really a concrete, practical approach.
Okay.
You take the test, you figure out your low element, we're on a roll. But the second missing element, which is not obvious, is the one that I call the observer, which is where you step out of the movie called life, as the astrologer would say, and stand at a distance and look back at yourself from the eyes of compassion and genuine concern for the humans. The subtitle of my book is Inspiring Compassion for the Human Condition, because my belief is we're all screwed up. I mean, everybody's a little bit crazy. But if the observer's on and it's interested and it's fascinated and it's curious, then it's not as troublesome as when you're left inside your head going, why am I so effed up?
How do we, you make it seem like I can just switch on a little button and turn the observer on. How does one turn the observer on? How do you get to that
that's
point?
absolutely, it's so true. It's so true. It's a muscle. It's a Buddhist spiritual practice where you start like right now. So put your observer on. So there you are in a room. Just pretend there's a camera. You can keep your eyes open.
Okay.
There's a camera looking at you with this little funny headset on. There's a camera looking at you with your little burgundy shirt. You got a side view, you got a front view, you got a back. So you take the camera outside of yourself. So right now, anyone listening in the audience, you just see yourself sitting in your room and what you're wearing, and you put on a lens and you step away from the internal experience to the observer. And some people, by the way, live here. They're like social scientists. They don't have an embodied experience. Some people really live at a distance from themselves. That wouldn't be true.
Oh, yeah, no, I've heard of that because I'll be coaching people and they were like, well, CJ wants to do this and this. I'm like, wait, aren't you CJ? Like, what?
Right.
What
They talk in third person, right?
Yes.
And it happens in dreams too, where you're in a dream and you're watching yourself at a distance. That is the simple stance or the observer position frees up the story, but it's a muscle. So it's a great question. How do you activate it? Like in the middle of a fight, when your kid's screaming, or when you're so embarrassed, if you can just go, oh my God, my observer's eye. It happens to me now all the time. I'm watching myself and I'm like, I had this crazy experience where I walked up to someone. This is so embarrassing. I walked up to somebody and I was about to introduce myself. He was someone I really respected. He was a musician, a famous musician. And instead of just saying, hi, my name is Deborah, I threw out some one liner that was all about my ego and working with Sting. And my observer kicked in and instead of being totally mortified by how stupid the sentence was that I just said, my observer kicks in and I go, Deb, that's just inappropriate. But not from the place of, that was dumb, you stupid, blah, blah, blah. From a place of, you're so cute. Your little ego and you just seem to have a party all by yourselves. And once you have the observer looking at yourself from a distance, you're like, aren't I funny? And aren't I cute? And doesn't my hair look cute? And it all becomes endearing.
Okay. I want some of what you're drinking. No, actually, I'm beginning to have that little, I call it the little gap. The gap from a little space in my mind that is no longer chitter chatter, nitter natter. There's someone that says, wait a second, did you notice when you did that, you did this, and you didn't have to do that. But sometimes mine, I don't know, does the observer always have a loving, generous side, or does it sometimes kind of like, well, honey?
Great question. You have to cultivate it. Like pretend this is what my book is all about, the elders. If you were a grandmother or you were a mother or you were a father and your kid just did the stupidest thing, which I happen to stick my foot in my mouth a lot. I don't know. It's part of my personality type. It's fire.
Yes.
And then either my critic will come in and go, that was so dumb. Like you're so embarrassing. Or I have a really good relationship with the elder in me that says, Deb, she has no judgments of me. She just says this funny thing where she goes, Deb, now, honey, that was a stick in the foot in the mouth. Yes, you just did it. Now we love you, and can you just stand over here for a minute? And she's not mad at me.
Okay. So how did you retrieve yourself from how did the observer help save your butt when you said the thing about sting, and then you're like, oh, why did I go say that for? Then how did you retrieve at that moment? How did you
No,
save yourself?
in the moment, it's just you're an idiot and you
Okay.
giggle. The clue that the observer's on, the way
Yeah.
you know, is you'll start to laugh.
Ah.
As soon as you're in humor, you're in that elder benevolent kindness.
Ah.
When you're
Okay.
in the voice of like, oh my God, I can't even believe what I just said. As soon as that voice is activated, you're not in the observer, you're in the critic.
Ah. Okay. Got it.
And you have a landing pad. Like my gift when I teach, particularly because I do now, and now I've figured out that my observer's so funny and she's so kind that I can do any mistake I make and I can say the funniest things and I am not self-conscious anymore.
Yes.
Now, that's not always the best thing for a person like me, but it's certainly serving my students. I mean, I notice things like I was teaching recently. This is going to make you laugh. In astrology, the symbol Mars is a circle with an arrow sticking out of it. It literally looks like in the doctor's world, when they say men, they draw a circle with a little arrow sticking out.
Yeah.
So when I was teaching, it's Mars energy. I kept saying, look, it's a penis. Now you think, what made me say that? So now everybody refers to Mars as the little penis. And because it's so funny, it triggers you. And now we're all laughing. And why would I have said that? What teacher says that?
Really? Because you're a gifted teacher. Because now I'll look at the Mars symbol and think of the penis every single time.
It works every time. So the humor of the observer that no matter, and it's not so funny because when me, I happen to be blunt and I think you have fire too.
Yeah.
We say shit.
Yeah.
But people that are emotionally moody and they're in water and they're depressed without their observer on, they're swamped.
Yeah. Yes. No, I hear. I actually get myself into trouble quite a bit because they'll just stuff that's fine. I one time told someone, don't sell that stock because it's going to go up. And how the hell did I know that? And they didn't. And I was like, they come up to me later and said, do you know, as a result of your stock tip, I did not sell the stock and I made $500,000. And I was like, that's great. What stock tip did I give you?
Show me the money.
Yeah. And they said, you said not to. I'm like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Why do you even listen to me?
That's what I tell everybody. Don't follow me. But when you're a fire personality, when fire gets ignited, we turn people on and then we say it's blunt and it can be psychic.
Yeah. Ah, I see. That's what I just figured it was a psychic thing because I don't even remember. I don't remember half of the things that just bubble from this mouth. It's terrifying.
That's because you're not saying it. That's because spirit's talking through you.
I'm just a dumb puppet, basically.
That makes two of us.
Okay, so how does that observer relate to the elements? Oh, you got your new book. Woo-hoo.
I just got it yesterday. It came in the box and it smelled. Smell it. It's such a good smell.
That is a good smell.
I know. And the paper's so nice. I'm so proud of myself.
And the pictures are pretty too.
And the pictures are pretty. I know. This is my favorite.
Yes, I love that one.
So gorgeous. My friend took that. Okay, what was your question?
Look, you just fired out on me. You went all over the map. I don't even know where we are anymore. This is a bad interview with two fire people. Okay, so my question was,
This is not a bad interview. We're funny and everyone's smiling because everybody needs a dose of fire. For God's sake, it's so boring on this planet.
Okay, my question was, okay, so how does that observer relate to these four elements?
So let's go through them. So water. Let's say you're a personality type who is Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, and you tend to be reclusive and you tend to be more of an introvert and you tend to be more moody and you feel everything and you find yourselves not wanting to be around people. Mm-hmm. So your observer comes in. The first thing it says is, that's okay. That's how it always talks. Mm-hmm. That's okay. You don't like people. We don't have to judge it. There's a difference in my world between a perception, you don't like people, and a judgment, you idiot, you don't like people. That's a judgment. The perceptions are just hard facts. Mm-hmm. The toast is burnt is a truth. You idiot, you burnt the toast is a judgment. So water people are extremely perceptive, and they know they're lazy, they're grumpy, they're moody, they're addictive. I'm not judging any of that. We're just naming it. So the first thing is you just...
Wait a second. All those things are bad. Lazy.
No. Lazy. Lazy just means they just want to stay at home and they don't want to go be around people. They don't like people means that they've seen through the veneer or the pretense. Staying at home on the couch just means that they're homebodies. I mean, it's all interpretation. I don't think anything's wrong with lazy. Lazy's a fact. It's a fact.
Okay. To me, it's a judgment. So whatever, but let's go there. All right. So you're saying, let's say that you actually have
you're
this.
you're a little fire mama. You're judging them. I just tell this is what I do in my sessions. Why people love my sessions. I just name it. I'm not judging you. You're lazy.
Okay.
It's okay to say you're lazy. Come on. And then once you say it, and the observer kicks in, and there's a simple raw acknowledgement of what's truth. Now we have some freedom. But if you're hiding, I'm not really lazy. I'm sick. I don't want to go out of the house. Come on.
Right.
You're water. It's okay to admit you're water. So there's number one. Number two is air. Air people talk. You won't guess which one I am. Air people talk, and they have so many words, and they have so many ideas, and they get scattered, and they forget where they're going, and they can't make decisions, and they lose in their airheads. So the judgment is, you're so stupid. You can't follow through. You can't make a decision. You don't know what you want to be when you grow up. What's wrong with you? My interpretation of this, hey, you think all the time. Your mind goes in circles. You have an incredibly active intellect. Why don't we just acknowledge you're versatile? And, and you have an amazing amount of information. However, that may not lend to results. Right. And it's okay to say you are not goal-oriented. You like to spin.
And so that's what the observer would say. That's the loving thing the observer would say. Okay.
And that's what this book is supposed to do. It gives you passion for your stupid personality type.
Okay, so all right, we haven't covered why do we finish and cover air and earth?
Okay. So air
people, no, we didn't talk. No, fire and earth. Excuse me.
So air people can't make decisions. They're indecisive. They don't do relationships well.
Yeah. So we missed fire and is that earth? Yes.
I got you.
Okay.
Then the next one is earth. Earth people, grounded, organized, money, details. Don't put the forks in the dishwasher sticking up. Stick them down or stick them up. And I'll do it. You're not very good at this. And why don't I tell you how you should eat? And here's the labels. And oh my God, this is not good for you. In fact, you know what? I'll eat it when you're not looking. But don't tell people. They are the tellers of the story. They are the controllers and they're the organizers. Okay. The bad news is they're boring. The good news is they're reliable. The observer says, listen, you guys, you work all the time. It's not a bad thing to be a workaholic, but you name it. Right, you are a workaholic and your ego is identified to money. Or you don't work at all and you tend to get really worried and you're always dealing with some kind of issue around practicality. That's just true. It's not a bad thing. So the observer says to the earth person, I'm so glad you're here to get stuff done. You're going to clean, you're going to organize, and you're going to tell us all how to do it. So glad you're here. Just be nice. Mm-hmm. And the last one's fire. And these people get up and they go and they're loud and they're blunt and they're fiery. And they stick their foot in their mouth and they say things that no one else says. And they spill things and they bump into things and they're so obnoxious and they have no off button and they just get excited over nothing. And you're like, whoa, where's the volume knob? And there's no volume knob on them. So the judgment is, you know what? You're the kids, especially. Put them in the recess or take them out of recess. Put them in the room. Give them tardy. Make sure that they're grounded. They get really in trouble, these kids. Or the upside is they're inspirational and they get us all going and they want to go work out and they're athletic and they're inspired. So the observer to the fire person is, wow, am I ever glad you're so honest and blunt? The observer says to the earth person, boy, am I ever glad you're organized and you're steady. The observer says to the air person, wow, you've got so many ideas. Let's just write them down. And the water person, wow, you want to stay home and cook and clean? Invite somebody over.
Interesting. Okay, so that's how the observer fits in. And so I could actually relate to, and you had me go through a quiz, right? And I was looking all over for that quiz on your website. Where is that quiz on your website? It's not there.
It's in the book, page 46.
Okay, on 46 you actually, and I took the quiz, and I don't know what the results were, but I think I was low in water, it seems like.
Yes. So if you're low in water, look at that pretty book. It's all full of colors.
Yay.
I'm so happy it's all colorful. If you're low in water, that would say that your compassion can be thin, that you don't always feel when people are moody or they're emotional, you're like, get up. You know, it's not the easiest thing for you to understand people that are reclusive. Like you're like, get a life. Your fire wants to, activate people.
Yeah, I actually feel like I'm a combination of, when you describe those two, I would feel like I'm a combination of earth, fire, and air, but in different. Now, so does someone have a compositional element? Like, are you like 25% in each of these, or like, how does this work?
There's 4 wheels in a car: water, air, earth, and fire. If one of the wheels is down, the whole thing goes off.
Okay.
So you want all 4 wheels to be equal, and that's what the book is looking for. The missing element.
Okay, so you're supposed to be 25, 25, 25 in each of these four little squares. I see. So if I'm if how do I know? So it's not like that in Ayurvedic. They have your prakriti. You kind of are born with a certain compositional element, and you stay that way. You do things to kind of get back to your original form. In Chinese, face reading, they actually have your face actually has all these elements in it, and you're born under a certain elemental pattern. You have like a three-digit number that's your. So this is different. That was a long way to say, isn't this different?
That was a yes. Yes. So all the systems they echo each other. They're always, and I love all the different systems.
Yeah.
This is just based on the Egyptian old system of astrology that has only four, and the four directions of the American Indians, and the four noble truths of the Buddhists, and the four worlds of the old ancient Jews. This is as old. I'm in Hawaii. It's all about the four elements in Hawaii.
Mm.
So it's the oldest system. We can't live without water, can't live without air, can't live without food, and can't live without the sun or your heart, fire. So these are the essential and the cornerstones, and you need all four of them. So the goal of the game is to balance them. And when someone comes to see me and they say, I'm really, what would be a good excuse? That someone comes to see me, for example, a man I just did a session for. So my relationships keep breaking and I can't seem to commit. And I go, well, let me guess. This is air.
Mm-hmm.
And then my job is to turn the observer on and go, listen, you came in this life to learn about this. There's a theme that reoccurs in everybody's life. And that's what the book is about. What's the broken record? What's the story? I call them stupid stories. What's the stupid story? Is it your body? Is it your health? Is it your relationship? Is it your kids? Is it your parents? Is it your job? Is it your money? Everyone has something that's kind of a nuisance.
What's your stupid story so I can get a sense of what. That was the worst way of saying it. I'm just repeating your words. What's your stupid story?
I love the way you said that. My stupid story has been about money throughout my life. Not in a big way, but enough where no matter how much I work, I have kids and they've gone to school and I'm a single mom and I've supported all these people. And so no matter how much in this life I work, I always have just the right enough to never feel abundant. And so I've become cute. It's endearing. Like, oh, here we go again. There's always a hole in the bucket. Like, oh, now we have to get the house refinanced. That's when oh, now we're going to have to go get the kids back to school. He's going back to university, graduate school. Okay, now we're going to, there's never an end. So that's mine.
Okay, that's your karmic kind of repeated story over and over again, and that's an earth.
Yes.
That's it. So does that mean that? So do you find that does that mean your missing element is earth on kind of a recurring basis?
Exactly. And it's in my chart. It's in the book. You don't have to know your chart. The book is based on no astrology at all. You do not need to know astrology to do the book. The next book I will be doing is on astrology. Let's see. Yes, earth is mine. So I learned years ago that I had to hire someone to clean my closets. I had to make sure I got my car washed. I had to make sure that I learned to cook. I had to take care of my money and put it into tax and do my IRA and all that stuff that I hate. But I taught myself, like Deborah, if you're my observer, if you're going to be a grown up, because I'm almost 60, if you're going to grow up and be successful in this life, you've got to take yourself into grown up land. And so even though my little kid was like, I did.
Interesting. Okay, so can you tell from my test? You had me go through a test. What's my missing element, or can you tell?
You know what? So sad, because why didn't they not give it to me? Oh, maybe I know where I might find it. This is so sad, but I think I might know where it is.
My number that was the lowest, I think, was water. Does that mean that's my missing element?
Yes.
Okay, so that's my missing element. Okay, so here's my karmic path. I was born Asian. Like I had a choice. I'm Asian. You're not allowed to cry. Basically, you're not supposed to have any emotions at all. And you're not supposed to ever sit around doing nothing.
So I'm looking at your survey.
You see my survey, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. My assistant wrote and said her highest score is in fire. Isn't that funny? Yes, you scored super high in fire and you scored super low in water. So yes, doing nothing. This is your cultural upbringing.
Yes,
it's probably in your chart too, which I'm going to go look at. But you have to learn how to do nothing on purpose. It's an art. Doing nothing on purpose.
It's hard.
It's really important in the name of meditation, in the name of stillness. I'm looking at you over there when you're over there. You really have to do the practices, and they're in the book. And there's a free meditation. If you go to my website, there's a great, you'd love it. Debra Silverman Astrology, under products, there's a free, you can download it for free onto your phone. And it's just a 5-minute guided meditation that for you would be so good.
Okay, I'll go look at it. And I want to point out to people, so when they get the book, there's working with the element of water. So this would be the one that I would read.
Exactly.
Right? Because this is the missing one. And then it says water woman. I can become more in tune with my watery aspects. And yet there's more. You get, what am I in water with relationships, family, and work? These are all my areas to work in. And then actually, oh, there's more. There's more, but yet there's more. There's
a story.
So how do you know when you're out of balance? And then it's actually all these long lists of things that I can do, including meditation, different things I can do in my physical space, and laugh. Yep. That
Look
helps.
at your chart. You're so funny. You're such an eccentric. You're not. What did you say? You were born with a
I'm more earth. Well, I don't know. I think because I'm so not water, and
first of all, you are a psychic. So let's start there.
I'm psychic.
Yeah, Moon conjunct Neptune. You're a seer. You see through people when they're full of it. You're like, I gotta go. Very short tolerance, because it must make your skin crawl. Like when you're around someone who's lying or they're fake, doesn't it just bug you?
Well, I'll just I don't think that's true. But because I have the fire part, that I'll just say to them, no. Or I'll just, because I'm fiery, I'll just say stuff that I said to this one guy who was going to be the executive assistant or something, or executive, I don't know, second in command of this guy. And I said, you're going to be that guy's butt boy? No, that's not acceptable. and he told me years later, he's like, I never took that job because you said that. And I said, what did I say? And then he'll tell me, I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. I can't even believe those words emanated from my mouth.
The mouth disease.
It is, but it's psychic. It is kind of psychic because it's something comes through me, and I'm trying to pull it back. Sometimes when it happens, I don't have any shame or bash. I'm not.
You're not saying it.
Yeah, so I don't feel that bad. So I just say it. Then years later, people say, yeah, so I do have that psychic thing. So you're saying why is that relevant?
Because that's your moon, that's your water. If you were willing to learn meditation, your psychic thing would go crazy.
I am done meditation. I just did this week meditation thing, and I had a Kundalini arising experience, and I'm not the same person anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was crazy. I was just sitting there, and also I'm sitting there, I'm like next to these people meditating, these 500 people. And so I'm right next to someone who is meditating next to me, and we're all trying to convene with the divine. And most people were convening with the divine quietly. For me, it's like this. And then I try to cover my mouth, which of course makes it worse. So then it sounds like a stalker. And then that's the first meditation. The second meditation, I start making more then my hands start shaking, and then it's like that Shiva thing where your arms are all over the place during next to these poor people next to me meditation, and it just hasn't stopped. Every single day, it's been like that.
Wow, you're a conduit. It's right there in your chart. You have to write this down. Moon conjunct Neptune.
Okay.
When you're done, you'll look that up. It's very unusual. It only happens once a month for a few hours. You were born right at that moment. The moon is the emotions and Neptune's the channel. Okay. So your body got all electric. Your body is a receptor for being able to channel energy and words that become this doorway that lets you see and know and energetically feel things that the rest of us are like, what's wrong with her? But the more you let yourself open to that, you are a healer. She's going to leave the radio station. We're going to go straight to hands-on. But you don't have to do it because you're an Aquarian. You don't follow rules anyway. So the short answer is you've definitely got a gift.
Okay. I don't want to be a healer.
I knew that. I already knew that. Aquarians argue with everything. No matter what you say, they go, no. Do you want to do this? No. They always say no because they rebel against everything. You want to go? I said, I have a kid like this. I said, you want to go to Disneyland when he's little? No. I was like, why do I ask you?
I don't think I argue with everything, including you saying that I don't argue with you. Okay. All right, so that's how you would use that. One of my questions is, how do you use this stuff? So you actually got a sense of what my missing element was, water. You then looked at my astrological chart, and then what were you looking at when you're looking at the chart?
Well, the chart is not in this book at all. So
Right.
it's kind of cheating. But the trick is, as a beginner, you can open up this book and you can find your missing. Here's the examples. Like, let me give you some examples. So somebody is in my class. I love teaching, and I've got this online academy, and we're starting again in August. We're going to have, we had to give it, we only had 100 students in the last one because the rest of them we had to push away because we had not enough spots. Next
Oh,
time
wow.
it's because the class is so powerful. What happens is, for example, one of the women in the class had a lot of fire. She started the class. She didn't know she had a lot of fire, but when she was a kid, she was an athlete. Fire people can gain weight because if they're not physical, they just can't stop indulging in whatever they like.
Oh.
So after she took the class, we found out she had this big giant fire in her chart. She started exercising. She's lost 40 pounds, and she's this radiant creature. And you would have been like,
Hmm.
how'd that happen? Another example is somebody comes to take the class and their house is a mess, and I can see by their chart they have no earth, and I say, just do me a favor, this is not going to be like woo woo woo, I want you to clean the closet. And then she started cleaning up her house, she started cleaning up her life,
Oh, interesting.
and her finances all changed. And it's as simple as, why
Um,
don't people realize when you're indulgent in your emotional body, for example water, and you're depressed and there's no one to talk to about it, and you're inside your own story watching videos or listening to radio shows or doing television, there's a lack of motivation and you can't get out of the mood.
I get it. Okay, so the missing element is which is the area that you have like a karmic pattern that you're deficient in. Then you figure out, okay, how do I make peace and love that? How does the observer make peace and love that aspect of myself?
And
And
take an
that's the
action
balancing thing.
step. And like for you, your action step is to stop being so active. Like for you to learn how to relax, to do nothing on purpose is what I call it. To do meditation with intention. And that's that meditation, even if it's 5 minutes a day, where you stop and you drop everything. You go empty. What you'll find is a peacefulness comes through, and then you're not so goal oriented like a crazy, because
Yeah.
you have a mission. This chart has a mission. You're trying to change consciousness. It's very obvious, and you're really sincerely a little strange.
I try to hide it, but yet you've just unveiled me.
Well, I'm so sorry. That's what astrologers do. You have what, this is going to sound really funny. When you were born, Uranus was opposite the sun. It only happens once a year. So Uranus was found when they had this revolution. Like literally, it was found in the 1780s, right after the American Revolution and the French Revolution was occurring. And they had this crazy thing where they said, let's go. I love the story. Let's go on boats across from England to America, and we'll land there, and then we'll take over the land, and we'll change the government. We'll say everybody can have freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and forget about the queen. So they revolutionized everything when Uranus was found. And you have a very strong Uranus. It sounds so funny, but it means that you can't stand following. They tell you what to do, and then CJ goes, thanks for sharing. I mean, you'll listen and you get it really quick, and then you're like, no.
That's true. I will. I'll cop to that. That's definitely true. And actually, my big focus is consciousness, increasing consciousness, which is why I do this show.
Right, waking up people. You're an alarm clock. I mean,
I
you
am.
came in this life, and it's all, even in your family and your lineage. That's why you were born with that cute little face, so you could change the nature of what your culture told you to, as a woman, you were going to do. You were like, no.
Yes, that's true.
And
Being
you
Asian is really an Asian woman. Oh my God.
tell us, what is it like?
Huh? Oh, it's a burden. First of all, you're not supposed to even exist as a woman in Asian culture. You're like the the second class citizen. I mean, okay, everyone can comment and get mad at me, whatever, but it's true. You are, if you really are truthful about it, you're a second class citizen who's there to serve other people. And then there's like this gigantic rule book of the things that you should do. When you go to dinner, you're supposed to sit here. You're supposed to say these things. You're supposed to wear these things. If you bring a gift, don't bring this one instead. I mean, there's just a gigantic, like, to be a woman is one, a curse. Secondly, then there's like this long list of things that you have to do in order to be an acceptable woman, daughter, whatever. It's a curse being an Asian
And
woman.
did you marry an Asian?
No. I married a nice Jewish boy from Utah. From Utah, whose mom is Mormon, whose dad is Jewish. I mean, We're all
Oh
messed up
my
in this
God, that's
family.
so you. That's so Aquarian. Let's just break every rule we can think of.
And my husband is a rule breaker too. So the two of us, but he's way nicer. He's like the sane one that everyone's like, he's so nice. Aren't you glad that you married him? You're so lucky to be married to this guy. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell it to the hand. Why are no one goes to him? You're so lucky to be married with CJ. And I'm like, yeah, he's lucky to found me.
I love you, babe.
Anyways, let's go back to your book. Woo! Okay.
No.
Okay, so really what it is about knowing what your missing element is and then reading this book to know how you balance. So it's really not it's not the same as some of those other models where like, oh, you're a composition of this and you're trying to get back to your
No, 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 no.
elemental form.
I'm with you. We need to change it up.
Yeah.
Like if you know why you're successful, why you're on the radio, or why I've written the book, is because we do not follow. And if you follow your own nature,
Yeah.
you get into the groove. Now that's not to say we're going to change it, but we
Right.
want to make sure that we leave room for you to be able to identify what's the missing element that's going to insert energy. Like, wake up, everybody.
Right. Okay. All right. So, where am I on this interview? I don't even know. Okay, so how does this merge with astrology? So you have like the most fascinating background. Dare I say eclectic. So you have psychology, you're a dancer, you do astrology. Now, how does all this stuff
It's really very
merge
simple.
together?
It's the order of things. It started off, I was studying dance, which was all about the body because I didn't want to talk, believe it or not. Then I started studying astrology, which was all about the stars and this incredible cosmic picture. And then I started studying psychology, and I put an embodied, dancing, moving, cosmic picture into my psychology. So every therapy session
Hmm.
I do, like this was, here's the thing that people don't know. Carl Jung was an astrologer.
I didn't know that.
And now it's out. It's all over his institute. And he was quoted to
Hmm.
say, psychology will be a dinosaur science until it includes astrology. Because every session he did, same for me. You have the person's chart, and now like you is a great example. So I know you're an eccentric and you break the rules, and I would never tell you what you should do. I would say to you, give me the weirdest things you have, and I would know instantly that my job was to encourage without judgment. You're blunt, you're honest, and you're straight up. And you'd be like, wow, that's why I came to see you because I'm blunt, honest, and everyone's mad. I'm like, no, you're gonna keep that, and then you're gonna insert the missing element, which might be compassion or the observer. We're not gonna change your nature.
I see. So it's like once you understand someone's astrology, you kind of know what is going on with their essence. Like they come in with this born with a certain essence to be a psychic weirdo healer, let's say, to increase consciousness. That is my essence. And so, in order for me to navigate in life in a balanced kind of way, it's to make peace with my missing element, which is water. And does it change? Like, let's say that I do a bunch of meditation. Could all of a sudden my missing element be fire, right? It could.
Well, then no, but then what happens is the whole thing gets balanced out. So it can change. You evolve, and then like for me, I love Earth now.
Hmm.
Where when I started this movie, I
Huh.
couldn't do. I now I love Earth. Like I love organizing, and I love putting my stuff away in my closet. And I've really come to see the freedom it's let me have. And the same things with water. I didn't know how to do stillness. I was built to wiggle, and
Hmm.
then I've learned. Oh, you mean you can sit and not feel guilty? Like, so now I feel very robust. Like, you can drop me off in a silent retreat. You can drop me off in a talking retreat. You can give me the job to get my finances together, or we can go play tennis. I'm all good.
Okay, so you've evolved. So over time, you could actually reach this kind of balanced wheel in which you.
It's the name of the game. And
Uh,
you know what you're missing, Ellen. I saw a question somebody asked. What how do you take the personality test? We did used to have it on the website. It's kind of not a bad idea now that the people can get it. But the interpretation, you got to go buy the book. It's
yeah.
on Amazon. It smells really good.
Get the book, smell the book, go through the test, and
Um,
then actually you can actually read. You can read these chapters. You have two videos if you can. People want to have a primer describing the elements, or you can
oh
just
yeah, I got
right.
lots of free information. Debra Silverman Astrology. Go to my website.
Okay, and it says what types. Since we're going to questions, we'll jump there. So, how do you take this personality test? What type of personalities are there?
There's four personality types: water, air, earth, and fire, and then the perforations of variations inside of that. That's the short answer.
Yeah. And then where is the chart? How do we know what we're missing? Okay, got it. So I think we've answered the same. Does
Here's
someone
the thing,
ask? Oh,
CJ, it's going to flip you out. In your astrological chart, you have no fire.
what? Really? That's, you know what? In the Chinese thing, whatever, I'm wood. I'm not, they said,
Exactly.
you're wood, not fire. And I was like,
Exactly.
no, my show's fired up. And they said, well, no, you need wood in order to actually start a fire. I'm like, okay, you're just now trying to justify why I have a call.
No, but because here's how it goes in astrology. When you're
Yeah.
missing, you only have one planet in fire out of the 10.
Yeah.
And so you're predominantly Earth in your chart.
Yes.
But what happens is when you're missing an element in astrology, it goes one of two ways. Either God said, don't give her any more fire, for God's sake. She's got enough this life. We are not adding, because some past life you really got fired.
Yes.
Or the other side is they didn't give you fire and the person has no get up and go, but you're obviously the first category.
Ah, I see. I've been burned at the stake many times. Whenever I do past lives, I'm like, oh yeah,
That's what I mean. They said, don't give
burned at
her
the stake.
fire.
Yeah, I had
Not,
another one that's this guy named Daniel Giamatti. He did one that was a shamanic astrology, and he said you have a lot of Shakti energy. You have Shakti on Shakti. You're double Shakti, which is, I think, that kind of.
that was that was the Kundalini. Yeah.
Yes, that's
So
what the
it's a
Kundalini.
soul who says, I want to be alive.
Yes,
That's
that's true.
that's your Neptune conjunct the moon in Scorpio. You can read about it. It's in Scorpio. You've got
Okay.
a very strong. Have you seen my funny videos on YouTube yet?
Yes, I have, but I haven't seen that. Was there one on that?
You have to watch. You have to watch the Scorpio one because that's your moon,
Okay.
and your rising sign is Gemini. You got to watch those. You just put in YouTube Debra Silverman Gemini.
Yes.
Up comes a 5-minute video. I've had like 4 million hits.
Yay. That's awesome. I'm
Some-
I'm confused. Where would I go to get answers? Listener asks. I'm confused about where would I go to get answers. You mean answers about how to? I assume what they mean is how to get answers about balancing themselves. So let's go back. Let's refresh where we were. So
I
you,
love that a listener is confused. It's just a joke. We're all confused, so don't feel bad, listener.
so
Welcome
you're
to Planet Earth. To get into Planet Earth, you got to be crazy. So the good news is, if you're confused and you feel crazy, welcome. You're
so there.
home.
Let's just review. So we have an element. We have an element that's missing. Read the book. Get the book. Do the test, figure out which element you're missing, or listen to the videos and see which one you feel like, oh, I'm kind of missing that. Then you get the book, you find out, you read the book, and it will say what thing you're missing, and it'll give you a whole bunch of things to get answers in terms of what you do to balance yourself.
Yes.
Is that the
Whoever
answer?
whoever that interviewer, the question the person just asked, you can't get the answers on a 45-minute interview. You got to get the questions. You got to go into my website, go read about the 4 elements, eat the website, digest the website, poop out the website. No, just kidding.
What's your website URL? I should have had it, but I don't have it.
It's Deborah, Debra, Deborah Silverman Astrology.
Okay, got it. So then you can go there and get that. And how? Okay, here's some other questions. How do you know these things about people? How do you know these things about people? I love that question.
I know, it's such a great question. You know, honestly, it is astrology. So there is a course. When you look on my website, you'll see a learn button, and there's an apprenticeship course, and it's a 6-week course. And I promise, people have been raving. It closes. We're opening again in May, but you can sign up now and be on the list. Saying that, yes, astrology is a shortcut to knowing all kinds of things about people. And I swear to you, I didn't believe in it. I came as a skeptic. I thought the whole thing was stupid. And now it's almost 40 years later, and I'm a firm believer.
Okay, so you actually look at someone's, you looked at my astrology. So you took my astrology, you just looked at my chart, you saw what was happening.
Time and place. You need birth date, time, and place.
Right? And then you actually then looked at my chart and said, oh my gosh, I can actually look that you're missing fire and everything. So you're either going to be crazy fire or complete absence of fire.
Bingo. See how smart you are? You would, by the way, you would be a great astrologer. The thing about astrology is the system is airtight. Like you're an intellect. Your mind is so fast. That's one of the problems you have in life. You fill in everybody's sentences, you're bored, and you want to keep going.
This is true. It's true and sad. But true. But it is. My observer says it's not sad. It's what
exactly.
it is.
Reframe.
Love yourself. Exactly. Love yourself. It's a
Try
gift.
getting rid of you. Good luck with that.
All right. So where am I? Okay. So, all right. So, and could it be actually that okay, so there's actually some element that you're missing. It's a karmic thing. But then in life, aren't there like day in, day out you're missing? I mean, could this be used for just, I'm feeling out of balance. I don't know what the heck is going on. And you're missing one of these elements? Is that how you would use this too?
Oh yeah, 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 for sure. Absolutely, for sure. It shows up in your day life.
Right. So if it's like my house is a mess, I feel like it feels out of control, then it would be like, you're missing wood. And then I would go and clean something and I'd be cured.
Exactly. Oopsie.
Whoops, I just lost you for a second. Okay. What are the misconceptions that people have about the four elements?
So ask that question once more.
What are some of the misconceptions that people have about the four elements?
Well, I think what they do is they think about it in very abstract terms. Like everyone knows we're made of four elements, but I've never really, this is my job this lifetime, is to bring that language to the masses. It's not that we have misconceptions, we've just never been educated. Like this is my favorite story. I worked in a school and I went with every teacher and I had every kid's chart and I sat in a circle with the teacher by herself and I said, look, you don't put CJ next to Deborah because all they're going to do is tickle each other and laugh all day. They're both fire.
Right.
You put CJ next to someone who's quiet and attentive. And then CJ will help bring that. That's one example.
Yes.
Or you don't tell a kid who raises their hand all the time going, excuse me, to stop asking questions. No, that's error. But you say to the kid, write down your questions. I love your inquisitiveness, but please don't interrupt. So you encourage and you learn the style of the kid as a parent, as a teacher. And then suddenly, so we had this class where all the little water kids were sitting cuddled up quietly, and all the air kids kept on interrupting, and all the earth kids were like taking perfect notes with sharpened pencils, and all the fire kids were like, recess. And I said to them, okay, kids, look, you guys got to sit down and listen to me. I turned to the water kids and I said, you guys just want to be quiet, and you really want to cuddle, and you want everyone to be gentle, and you want to be with the little pets and your dogs and your cats. You air kids, you can't stop talking. And you earth kids, sharpen your pencils. I know you want to be perfect, but you're not. But mistakes are your friends. It's okay. And you fire kids, we're going to have recess, but wait. So when they understood their nature, then one little girl raised her hand. She said, I think my mom's water because when we moved out of our old house, she cried. And then when we got to the new house, she cried again. Is that water?
That is adorable. That's adorable. So actually just knowing, so you would listen to your tapes or read the book, find out what you're missing, and then it helps you kind of be at peace with whatever you're missing. And hopefully be balanced, like you're saying, like you're now kind of a balance of all these four things.
Kind of. I get scared saying it, but I think so.
What makes you scared?
Well, I never want to be so arrogant or so I was teaching once. This is a really funny story. I had a group of kids. I was teaching astrology as a birthday present. I was living in Vancouver, and I was their birthday present. And I went around every single kid, did a little reading. They were 13. And then at the end, the one girl said to me, because everybody cried, every one of the little girls, they were 13. They all cried when I just went, like, I hate that part of myself. I hate that part of myself. And then it got to me, and they were like, what's you? Who are you? And I was like, I really like who I am. And one of the girls turned to me and said, ooh, that's the most conceited thing I ever heard. And remember when you were a teenager, the worst word?
Oh, yeah, conceited.
So I never want to assume that. I never forget that story. I was like, wait a minute, you're allowed to feel good about yourself without being programmed or labeled conceited. But there is something to be humble. So yes, I feel balanced, and I'm always, we're always in motion.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, you're never in a state of complete centered balance at that, 25% everything. There's always like something that kind of because that's called life, right? I mean, that's called life. And that's what, right? Because it keeps us conscious, right? Right? I think that's what it is.
Interviewer. Okay, are we almost done, Mom?
We are almost done. So tell us all the different things that we are almost done. So do you do live readings on the air? Oh, I don't know. Do you do live readings?
I could have, but not today. Yes, I do, but we're not doing them today.
Yeah, no. Okay. All right, so tell us all about the different classes. You have a class on astrology. Tell me the other classes that you have.
A beginner class of astrology that starts, we're going to open up, open up the cart in the summer, like somewhere in May or June we'll start, spring.
And what will you learn in that class?
You can become an astrologer. I've designed a program where you can actually become an astrologer.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how many, what's the commitment?
The commitment is 3 months. If you really want to be an astrologer when you grow up,
Yeah.
it's a 3 month program. It's like going to graduate school. I really it's a really serious online with people. You only have 10 people in the room. I never take a larger class than 10, but there's a whole bunch of mentors I have teaching my material. And then when you get to the higher levels, I teach you, and you really can be and it's real. Like they make money. They go out and they start doing it's so fun.
Very cool. Okay, so that's happening in sometime during the summer. And you'll
That's right.
find it on your website, debrasilverman.com. Here's
Deborah
your name.
Silverman, astrology.com.
Astrology.com.
Then
Excuse me.
the other thing I do is people come and spend 2 days with me. They do intensives where they want me to really give them the answers, and they get to hire me by myself, one-on-one, whether it's in Hawaii or it's in Colorado. I live in both places. And I'll be in Seattle. I'm doing a book signing on May
Yes.
the 14th at East West Bookstore.
You are? That's like right around the corner from where I live. I'll come over and get my book signed. Yay.
Yeah. And bring it because it smells. And it's really strong.
Okay, so you're going to be in Seattle in May. Perfect. Yay. Okay,
I
good.
love Seattle. I had a radio show on KKNW for 5 years.
Yes, I saw that. All right, so get the book if you want to know. People were asking. You don't have to be confused. You can find it out by just reading your book and their videos. And there's this video for kind of like a primer. Tell your friends. Thank you so much. This was fun. Did you have fun?
You are fun.
Good.
Little fire mama.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. I would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.